Okay, this first song is a song that I wrote for a girl I was in love with years ago. She graduated nursing school, had never been to the islands before, and so I wrote her this the day before she took off. She wanted to swim with dolphins, do that kind of crap. Rise with the sunshine, riding the wind, a mind that is starting to clear. I worked like a devil to play in the sand, at last I'm finally here. Deep in the ocean, inviting and warm, dolphins swim casually by. They know I'm watching, they know I'm inspired, but don't seem to really care why. Here on this island alone, I will find what I lack. I'll carry it with me forever, if I ever go back. Plenty of sunshine, plenty of time, plenty of reasons to smile. Free of the future and free of my past, I'll be myself for a while. With no expectations from people I love, miles across the blue sea. Though I will miss them, think of them oft, the sun and the waves beckon me. Here on this island alone, I will find what I lack. I'll carry it with me forever, if I ever go back. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thanks a lot. All right. I don't know what else. You know what? I'll go ahead and try I Am. I normally capo down for this, but I tried capoing this down earlier and it like went completely out of tune. So I wish I had your voice for this because I'm not going to be able to get these notes. I don't know why. You were here, then you were gone. What was true is now a lie. I am cast out in the storm. I am crushed beneath the tide. I've grown weary now and old. Every dream has taken flight. Every fire has turned cold. I stand naked in the night as my last hope flickers out. Bursting forth to my surprise, for the fire in my soul still remains, and so do I. I am that's a little too high for me. Alright, so this next one is a cover of sorts. It's by one of my favorite songwriters, the guy working the camera there. And when Jim does this song, he does a poem by Theodore Rathke, Saginaw's own Theodore Rathke, which I found out, I had to research and find out where he got his stuff. So Jim, Eddie, and I, every now and again, like every few months, we'll come across something that we find interesting on the internet, and we'll just shoot each other an email. A while back, I was going through my vinyl and found a couple albums by Judy Sill, who I don't think I'd ever played them. I popped them on. She was really interesting, so I looked her up on the internet. Found out she had this like crazy life story. She was out in Laurel Canyon in the early 70s, and she ticked all the bohemian boxes. She got busted for armed robbery. She got a couple albums made. She did drugs. She did prostitution. She was openly bisexual back in the early 70s. So yeah, tick, tick, tick. But she wrote a song called Jesus Was a Crossmaker that was covered by Johnny Cash, a lot of other people. And it got me wondering, it was on one of the albums. I'd heard that before, years before, and I wondered the first time that I had come across that Jesus might have been a crossmaker. I mean, he was a carpenter during, the Bronze Age, in an occupied area by the Romans. So if you wanted work, you might make crosses. So I looked back and I was rereading Slaughterhouse-Five by Vonnegut. And right at the end, Billy Pilgrim's talking about his favorite author, Kilgore Trout. And Kilgore Trout writes a story about a guy that builds a time machine and goes back to visit Jesus. And when he gets there, Jesus is an apprentice in his father's workshop. And a Roman soldier comes in and wants them to make him a cross. They're happy to have the work, so they do it. That's interesting in itself, but then at the very beginning of the book, before Vonnegut gets the material together to write Slaughterhouse-Five, he's getting ready to get on a plane, and his book is Words to the Wind, which is a collection of poems by Theodore Rathke. And in it, he quotes, and it's because of the small piece of the poem I think I remembered. It's, I wake the sleeping and take my waking slow. I feel my fate and what I cannot fear. I learned by going where I need to go or have to go. For me, I'm always fucking petrified up here on stage, but you push yourself, you get up and do shit that's not comfortable, and you learn and you grow. What else can I say? That's pretty much it. This song is called Eugene, and it's by Jim Novak. Eugene once loved, once worshipped, played, clung to these limbs like life-giving juices of earth this body once knew. Its worth to someone now. You are distant as dark clouds in life elsewhere. What makes the senseless body care or laugh? Are you still there? No, you passed. Are you past? Are you still there? One day the walls screamed silently something was wrong. Eugene in bed erased what was left of our song, so I moved on. 4 seasons as good as gone, as good as gone. For reasons I'm still working on, still working on. Eugene once loved, once worshipped, played, clung to these limbs like life-giving juices of earth this body once knew. It's worth to someone. Now you are distant as dark clouds in life elsewhere. What makes the senseless body care or laugh? Are you still there? No, you passed. Yes, you passed. Are you still there? That's it. Excellent. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, so January. The next two songs of mine are originals, and my dad, if he were still around, would be 99 this month. He'd be 99. His birthday is in January, and odd story that growing up, we always celebrated his birthday on January 1st. I mean, that was my dad's birthday, January 1st. And when he was in his 50s or 60s, he got into family history, genealogy, that sort of thing, did a lot of research, went back home to Pennsylvania where he was born. And then he started celebrating his birthday on January 19th. And I never got used to that. He was alive for 30 more years, but I never was used to this January 19th thing. But he said that he found a baptism record. And the baptism, in whatever month it was in, said that this kid was born on January 19th in Greene County, Pennsylvania. I mean, it was definitely him. And I knew that there was a real tragedy associated with my dad's family in the year that he was born and immediately before and after, and that must have accounted for why no one in the family sort of really knew what his actual birthday was. Doesn't that seem odd? We make such a big deal of birthdays, but I think the circumstances were such that there's just too much going on. His older brothers and sisters never corrected him. His mother died in the 40s, his father long before that, so it's an odd thing. But anyway, my dad was, despite this tragedy, my dad was a very cheerful sort and had a great experience during the Depression, of all things. When he graduated from high school, he joined the Civilian Conservation Corps, which was during the Franklin Roosevelt administration. It was a make-work project, taking young men off the streets, off the farms, whatever, giving them a job. And the job was conservation. We're going to plant trees. We're going to work on the state parks and the national parks. And some of the improvements that they made are clearly still with us. When we would take summer trips, my dad would say, well, you see that row of pine trees planted all in an entirely straight line? Had to be CCC boys who did that, because that's how we were told to plant trees. Here's to the CCC, planting trees and more. Cheers to the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps. When the forests of the garden were lumbered and left to burn, farmland and stream heading for trouble as the century turned. Market crashed in 29, there was no work for many. A dust cloud settling down on this once proud land of plenty. There were hobo boys in jungles, teens out on the streets, young men on the farm, and even there they couldn't make ends meet. So when FDR was elected right away, he made a plan. He said, let's put those boys to work and let's restore our land. 250,000 enrollees in just a few months' time. From 33 to 42, there was 3.5 million, all in Roosevelt's Tree Army Soil Soldier CCC. They restored the woods and restored their lives, that's their history. With axe and maul and mattock, they leaned into their task, built fire trails, riverbanks, campsites, and all that they were asked. California to Maine, Skyline Drive to Yellowstone, they made $30 a month, and all but 5 went home. 3 billion seedlings with mattock, axe, and maul. Message was think ahead, and what they did'll outlive us all. So here's to the CCC, planting trees and more. Cheers to the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps. And my dad was a CCC boy, as he so liked to be called. He went from home near Pittsburgh to Virginia's Front Royal. Then he got a job in Detroit. He served in World War II. Said after being in the seas, there was no work he could not do. I met more CCC boys at reunions at Higgins Lake. Slow to step, but still quick of mind. A firm hand to shake. To a man who've got great stories. It's not just trees they grew themselves. And they want that choice for the next generation too. With axe and maul and mattock, they leaned into their task. They called it the College of Calluses. They did all that they were asked. 3 billion seedlings with mattock, axe, and maul. Message was think ahead, where they did'll outlive us all. So here's to the CCC, planting trees and more. Cheers to the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps. That's my song for the CCC boys, singing in a national park, singing in a state forest, on a morning hike or at dark. Sing it once in gratitude for the men of my father's age. Sing it twice for the youngsters to be inspired by history's page. Here's to the CCC, planting trees and more. Cheers to the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps. Thank you. The Civilian Conservation Corps. I had a chance to play that song at the 75th anniversary of the Civilian Conservation Corps down in Florida, and it was a blast. Boy, those guys do indeed have a lot of great stories. What few of them are still around, of course. I mentioned my dad, who was born in January, was from Greene County, Pennsylvania. And here is a story that doesn't really feature my dad. It features his mom. So you have to suspend your disbelief and accept the fact that I'm singing as a woman. Francis, and on my saint's day, my big sister lent me a dress. My good man Janusz met me at the church for mass, and our marriage was blessed. Polkas were danced on the village green. The war conscription nowhere to be seen. dreamed of America, Janusz and me. In the new century, 5 years later, it's Poland farewell to Baltimore from Bremen town. To Pennsylvania, a coal patch out west, by 2 minutes deep underground. Yonder been a farmer, quiet and strong, but he worked in the dark holes and we scraped along. I prayed each shift he'd go down those mines. I'm a mother 6 times. Ghosts and shadows come out of that pit whenever the hoist bell clangs. I see them retch and cough and spit, dear grimy husbands and fathers in shuffling gangs. Neath timbers that hold up a roof of rock, air so foul it explodes. Fatals are high in Greene County. We're told America needs us, our tons of coal. Greene County coal, Greene County coal, it tries the soul. Janusz's last day, some supports gave way. They carried him up top where he died. Sirens went off, I knew right away when they told me I'd already cried. For Greene County coal, Greene County coal, rest his soul. Fall 1919, I'm pregnant once more. I knew the day Janusz was gone. The orphanage nuns took 3 of my girls. I'm not sure how I go on. His baby inside me at New Year, it's you. I fear for our youngest is caught Spanish flu. This dream of America gone coal black. I just want my family back. Shadows come out of that pit whenever the hoist bell clangs. I see them retch and cough and spit, dear grimy husbands and fathers in shuffling gangs. For Greene County coal, it tries the soul. My name is Francis, and on my Saint's Day, my big sister lent me a dress. My good man Janusz met me at the church for Mass, and our marriage was blessed.